And we are live. It is good to have you if you're watching this on the live stream. I hope I am audible and you guys can hear me loud and clear. Please let me know how my audio and my video is feeding right now. I hope everything is good. A little bit of feedback from you guys if you would be so kind, just to let me know that my levels are straight. Let me know that you hear me, see me well. And hey, Adam, good to have you on my daily side. How are you? Sam Vehicles is here. Seldana Tech. Oscar Frederico. Good to have you. Sean, my brother, thank you for being here and taking care of moderating duties. Thank you, Sean. Appreciate the feedback. Mr. Jaime Daily is in the house. Big shout out to the Daily Sports Podcast. Good to have you on, man. Max Finley is here. Tom is in the house. Pete, thank you for holding it down with the moderating duties. Rafi, appreciate the feedback and taking care of those moderating duties as well. Big Wrench, watch yourselves out there. Let's keep it in line. DJ Gaten, Tech Landon, good to have you. Diablo, good to have you as well. Martin, thank you for stopping by tonight. The homie Scoop, happy birthday to you, sir. Wish you health and wealth and everything fantastic for many years to come. Thank you, Adam. Appreciate the feedback. Everything is good. All right. Awesome. Thank you, guys. Mike West also holding it down with the moderating duties tonight. So that's got a few tonight. That's awesome. Glad you guys could be here. Jeff, thank you for the feedback. Jason as well. Dave, see you guys there in the live chat. My brother, Keystone Tech, he's in the house. Good to have you on. And thank you for the feedback. Ronald, the homie, thank you for that. Bobby, Jarrett, good to have you. Lavin or Levin, I'm not sure. I hope I say it right. It's good to have you on, and I wish you the same. Thank you. U5 Marshall, hello to you. Thank you for the sound check. Jamil, thanks for the super chat, bro. I appreciate that very much. Already with the super chats, it is good to have you guys. A 199 mic drop from Jamil. Thank you for the super chat, man. No comments, no questions, no nothing. Always generous, kind, and we appreciate you. Thank you for that. The brother Jose is in the house. I'm doing well. Hope all is well with you. Hey, Jamie, anytime you want me on that podcast, man, I'm game. Count me in. We'll find the time. All right. Thank you, William. Appreciate the feedback there. Peter, thank you. As good as you can. Thanks, man. Randy, what's up, Sneedster? Yeah. Yeah. Oh, Keystone Tech. I hope you're doing well, man. I hope you're okay. What is happening, man? G&G, thank you for the $10 super chat. We are in the generous mood today. Thank you all for the already getting things going with the super chat. No question or comment, but Gene, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Todd, William, Benny, good to have you guys. Kevin, what is going on? Got you on one of my TVs and live PD on the other with the volume down, drinking rum and cook, quarantining. Enjoy your time, man. Glad you could be here tonight. Gene, thanks again for the super chat. Albert, good to have you on. Yeah, let's get this thing going, man. Keystone Tech, take care of yourself, man. Blood pressure is no joke. It could creep up on you. So, added stress, stressful jobs and stuff like that. It gets kind of crazy. So do be careful of that. All right. Good evening, Vincent. Good to have you on. Rich. Hey, big shout out to Rich. I'll be kind of giving off names of all the people that have just been added to the Patreon page. We got some new members and stuff, so I do want to give some special shout outs. But enough of the intros. Let's get to going here. We've got 92 in the live. It is good to have you all. Thank you for stopping in. If you're watching this live, and if you're watching this on replay as a video after it DVRs and it's available for replay, I want to give a big shout out to the replay crew. Thank you guys so much for that. Also, U5 Marshall with the super chat. Thank you for that generous donation. Also, MT Houston, Texas. It wouldn't be a live stream without MT Houston, Texas, dropping the the customary super chat, double-digit super chat. So thanks, man. Appreciate it. You guys are awesome. I definitely have the best community on the tube, man. So, hey, thanks, Jamil. Thank you again. Another super chat. You guys are awesome. All right, so here's what we're going to do tonight. I used to do these all the time. I used to do these on the JG Tech blog. I used to do these types of podcasts on my channel. And then what ended up happening is the community got bigger and I started getting more and more contributors on the show. And it's amazing. It adds an incredible dynamic when I got like engineers coming on the show, and I've got people that work in retail, like in the case of Tim and Caleb with the network, and people that work in the industry and in the physics of all of this, like with Pete, and then people in testing, getting the devices like Carlos. They are some of the most valuable parts of the community and what they do in contributing to the channel. But tonight, what I'm going to do is I'm not going to bother them. I'm going to carry the show on my own for today, and it should be fine. What I want to do is I want to take a look at the five things that T-Mobile must do. These are non-negotiables. These are items that I think T-Mobile has to nail, because if they don't, they're going to jeopardize their opportunity to capitalize on their huge market share gain. And if you think about the merger and the way that it kind of played out over the course of the last 2 years, all of what the merger worked for can be lost if this is not executed properly. So, and I believe in what T-Mobile's going to do, because I believe in Mike Sievert. I believe in what T-Mobile's done up to this point. Nobody has done more in terms of growth and execution on the business side than them. Truth be told, Verizon and AT&T have kind of sort of hit maturity when it comes to their market share. But in order to stay at the top, you have to fight whoever is scrunging from the bottom, right? So T-Mobile for the longest time and Sprint for the longest time, they've always been the lower tier providers in terms of market share. I'm not talking about customer care. I'm not talking about pricing or any of that. I'm just saying that when it comes to market share, they've always been the clear number 4 and number 3. Well, that can all change now with this merger. A huge market share shift is going to the new T-Mobile. You're adding 50 or so million subscribers to the new T-Mobile company that weren't there before. So it's a lot of customers that are going to be served on this network. And you've got to keep them all. And then you also want to continue to add customers. You want to take customers from if you're T-Mobile, you want to take them from Verizon, you want to take them from AT&T. You never want to be satisfied in business. You always want to continue to make your company better, to make it more profitable, to make it bigger. That's what a CEO gets paid to do, right? That's what a company is trying to do. They're in business to make money. And the way you make money in telecom is by having a lot of customers that pay their bills. So that being said, in today's podcast, we are going to cover the SMT Sneed Mobile Tech's top 5 most important, most critical, non-negotiables. These are things that the new T-Mobile must do, and they must hit them on the head. And they also must hit them outside of the ballpark. These got to be home runs. There are certain things that T-Mobile must continue to do, and there are certain things that they must start doing, because there are some things that are new to them that they probably have never been able to execute because they didn't have the scale, right? So they've got to hit it on the head. They've got to execute these 5 things. Before I get going with this video, do me a huge favor. Pop out of the live chat and hit that thumbs up button. Do that for me. Hit that like button. That helps me out tremendously. So that would be awesome if you guys could do that for me. So thank you in advance for that. Please do hit that like button. If you could share it, that would be awesome. Thank you in advance for that. Also, I want to give a shout out to a couple of links that are in the description box, the SMT Patreon page. We've got $1, $2, and $3 tiers if you'd like to become members of that community. We've got exclusive content, videos, perks, all types of interactions, live streams. Join a community of like-minded network and tech enthusiasts. I want to give a formal welcome to some individuals who were just added recently. Alan, Darius, the Tyronecus, Leon G, and Rich Z. Thank you guys for becoming the newest members of the Patreon page. And also I want to give a special shout out to Rafi, Cesar, Nintendo 504, and Clinton for donating PayPal donations over the course of the last week or two. So thank you all so very much for those donations, and you guys are amazing. Thank you. Let's go ahead and get to the 5 things that T-Mobile must do. And I'm going to try my best to look in the live chat and see where the communication is at, see what the discussion is. But I'm going to give you my 5. I'm going to give you my reasons, my explanations, and then you guys can kind of talk amongst yourselves and see if you can expand on certain things. Maybe you agree, maybe you disagree. Go ahead, have at it. Okay, number one, and these are not in order. They're just the top 5 things I could think of, things that I think are non-negotiable and T-Mobile must do. Number one, T-Mobile must absolutely nail the network integration in building this cohesive new T-Mobile network. That means everything that they have going on, that they have in-house right now, all their spectrum assets, all their tower sites, plus take everything that Sprint has, all their tower sites that they're going to keep and use, all their operations, they've got to hit that network integration right away. No joke, no playing around. It must be seamless. It must be perfect. They cannot drop the ball there. The new network, when it's integrated, has to be capacitive. It has to be without hitches. It must be effective in terms of how they integrate the network. I'm going to say there is a little bit of wiggle room. It doesn't have to be perfect right away. I would say that most customers are going to be patient for the first year. So for 2020, I think a lot of T-Mobile customers and Sprint customers will be patient with the new T-Mobile. So if they're going to continue to do things like, I don't know, hey, these networks, we're working on integration. This tower site's going to be down for a day, or this tower site's going down at night. That's perfectly fine. I think that's understandable. But if we're having these same network integration problems a year from now, a year and a half from now, then that's going to be an issue. They've got to figure out a way to make this happen in a timely fashion. They've probably got about a year. I can't really see it lasting beyond that, because then people are going to start leaving. They're going to go for greener pastures, and then they're less likely to come back. So I would also like to say that I think the network has to have a lot of capacity, and people have to be able to be on the network and feel the difference. So the current T-Mobile customers have to see a network improvement, more capacity, faster speeds, better resolution, better video playback. People have to know that the network got better, and it was because of the merger. So current customers who are, having issues running 480p video and it's buffering and things like that, if they're, whatever the case may be, disrupted services, all that's got to be dealt with. All that's got to improve. So the new T-Mobile network needs to be supercharged. The new T-Mobile network has to be invigorated. It's got to be what T-Mobile says it's going to be. The merger promised a supercharged network. It's got to be that, right? So that's what has to happen. All right. Number 2. The second thing that is a non-negotiable that T-Mobile must do, they must build out their network footprint. It has to get bigger. The network as is not going to cut it. It's great to see that they're covering 60% of the nation. That's great. They've come a long way. It's awesome. A lot of people have noticed the improvements. Band 71 LT has helped out tremendously. You get the 600 megahertz signal that travels really far. Fantastic. I love it. But it's got to get bigger. It's got to be more expansive. It's got to truly be able to compete with companies with networks like AT&T and Verizon. That's who they're shooting for. They basically took on Sprint, so that's not a competitor anymore. And who knows what Dish is going to be? They're a wild card. We don't know. But when it comes to Band 71, whether it's LTE or NR, AWS 2.5, the 1900 megahertz PCS spectrum, whatever the frequency and spectrum holdings it doesn't make a difference. They must continue to compete with both the big two in AT&T and Verizon. Look at what AT&T has. AT&T already has a pretty good pre-existing LTE network. And then they went ahead and they got this government contract with the FirstNet, where they get band 14, 700 megahertz access nationwide to build out a more expansive network. They're getting paid to roll out that network. So T-Mobile's got to compete with that. That's hard to do, but they got to do it. Verizon has literally spent the last 3 decades, consuming regional carriers while building out their own native network. It's a massive LTE footprint. It's hard to compete with that, but T-Mobile has to do it. So whatever it takes, and integrating what Sprint is doing, and building out their own 600 megahertz, all that taken into account, new sites, pre-existing sites. They've got to do it all because band 14 for AT&T is no joke. Verizon's current LTE network is no joke. And then you think about, and I'll talk more about this later, the Shentel deal. I remember when T-Mobile bought iWireless and they purchased them. That was a brilliant move. That was huge. That gave T-Mobile service where they never really had good coverage before. Very limited, very few tower sites. iWireless was huge. Not only did they get some added customers, but they got a network in places they didn't have before. So in Iowa and the surrounding states, they now had access in those areas, and it expanded their footprint of their network. It was beautiful. It was the perfect acquisition for what T-Mobile needs to do. The Shentel situation and what they have with that company, with Sprint, same situation. They should buy out Shentel, get their 1.1 million subscribers, and all of their network assets, everything. And they should go ahead and roll with that. So I think 100% they've got to look at that approach because it worked for Verizon. It's worked for AT&T. I think T-Mobile's got to follow in those footsteps. They don't have to take on the business practices of Verizon and AT&T. If you don't agree with those things, it's totally different. But when it comes to the market to market basis of having coverage, there's no denying that AT&T and to a greater extent Verizon have, I would just say, a more complete coverage of LTE across the nation. And it'll be the same for 5G. So they've got to do that. Mikey Tech Reviews with the $2 super chat. Thanks, bro. Appreciate you. Integration. Will Sprint devices work on T-Mobile? Yes. During the integration process, there'll be tons of updates and firmware updates and things of that nature. We'll be seeing that all the time. I don't really know too much about the Magic Boxes, Master Jeffy Lou, but you might want to contact your Sprint customer care about that, how that's going to work with the new T-Mobile network. Now, number 3. So we just covered the first 2. Let's talk number 3. The third most important or critical non-negotiable T-Mobile must do to be successful as the new T-Mobile company. T-Mobile must effectively integrate the business side with Sprint. This seems like an afterthought. Most people think, oh, you merge a business, easy, right? Now you got these 2 companies together and, everything's cool, right? You got all these customers all migrated, this huge company. But I'm here to tell you that the migration from Sprint customers over to T-Mobile systems is going to be an absolute pain because there are a lot of Sprint customers who have been with Sprint for a long time that have a long account history, multiple accounts. They've got all types of lines. They've got all types of stored IMEI information. The list goes on and on. There's tons of stuff there, right? Tons and tons of account information and other things that are stored within the company's software operations. You got to think about it. That integration of old dated Sprint systems and old dated T-Mobile systems, that's not going to be easy. And they can't have too many hitches, right? If you're going to have problems with accounts and billing, that's all going to be a pain. Customers are going to get really mad about that. You don't want to lose your customers off of stuff like that. Very, very painful integration process, especially if stuff starts disappearing, old plans, old bills. I mean, there's so many different things that could happen there. That is going to be a very challenging task. I do not envy who is on that team working on those types of things. Very, very difficult to do, but they've got to figure it out. I mean, think about it, right? You've got all these old CDMA IMEIs from the Sprint side. You've got a bunch of old legacy devices on the T-Mobile side too, right? It's not going to be easy figuring all this out. We just talked about the network integration. We just talked about the network build out. I mean, those are tons and tons of operations. This is just on a store-to-store basis even, right? And then the management of the store sites and the employees and the training, all that goes into the whole business side. Big shout out to Timothy with the super chat. Thank you for that. I appreciate you so much, man. Thanks for the donations and always being a contributor to the channel, coming on and hanging out. Thank you. And big shout out to RFK Tech also with the super chat. Skunk Mobile will fail. They have lied to us. Yeah, Ricky's of the belief that we're not getting what we're paying for with T-Mobile. I mean, look, man, I will say that I'm holding out hope for a a super big time effort from the new T-Mobile, and they've got the resources for it. They can do it. Mike Sievert at the helm, I like their chances. I think that the company is going to be a little bit different under this guy, and and things should be good. The brother Tana so lit. Thank you for the super chat, man. I got the pair lifting weights. Thanks, man. I appreciate you. Appreciate the super chat. Thanks for stopping by, and yeah, we'll see you around, man. I'll be popping in your live chats too, man. I don't know when you're going on next, but I'll be there. Carlos, good to have you on. Technoid, thank you for stopping by. Let's see here. Oh, yeah. I want to go on to number 4. The fourth thing that T-Mobile must do, non-negotiable, in order for them to succeed as the new T-Mobile network. The fourth thing is they must continue to add value to their plans, value to their customer offerings. So here's what I mean by this. They've still got to be profitable. In fact, they probably need to make more money per customer more than ever. But it's going to be really, really touch and go. If they're going to be raising pricing on anything, they're going to get in trouble. They've already agreed to a price lock. Customers that are incumbent and from Sprint, they should probably keep their pricing. They shouldn't be worried. Current T-Mobile customers should probably hold on to their pricing as long as they want to keep them. The grandfather thing, T-Mobile's always been really good at that. So I don't really fear that side. But what I think T-Mobile has to continue to do is they've got to continue to sweeten the pot and keep customers happy and feeling good about the value they get from T-Mobile. Big, huge super chat from Alexis. Thank you for the $20 goal with the pair sliding across. Golazo. Thank you, Alexis. I appreciate the super chat. You're always so generous. Thank you so much. Mikey Tech Review, thanks for the super chat sticker. Appreciate you, man. You guys are awesome. Thank you. Amazing. Thank you, guys. So what T-Mobile's always been really good at, and they can't abandon this now. This is part of their identity. They've got to continue to sweeten the pot. They have to continue to give their customers value, especially if they're trying to pry customers away from the jaws of Verizon and AT&T. So how do you do that? How do you do that without bothering customers? How do you raise your ARPU, generate more money per customer, but still offer the value? It needs to really, really be finessed. You have to be very, very delicate about this. So you got to probably start thinking about new revenue streams. You got to probably offer some new products, offer some new services, and it's got to get to the point where people are looking at the offers like Quibi, for example, right? This new platform that T-Mobile has invested heavily in. They're giving you these 10-minute video episodes, these TV shows, high-end production, good quality content. They've got new episodes daily, 175 shows. That's a nice proposition. That's a nice addition. It's infusing a new product, a new potential revenue stream where, you look at Quibi, they're charging $4.99 for that, right? Get the ad-free one for $7.99. That's not bad. That's a pretty compelling option. They're still going to give you Netflix on Us. They're keeping that. They're still doing that sort of thing. So if they can hold on to those types of propositions and values and maintain those types of, sweeten the pot type of deals, they distinguish themselves from companies like AT&T, which nickels and dimes every single company or every single customer. And Verizon has kind of changed their way a little bit. They've started to offer more value. They've got the Disney Plus. They're doing some things and stuff like that. That's pretty nice to see, but it's all in response to T-Mobile. So it's working. Big shout out to Sebi. Thank you for the super chat donation. Thank you so much. Got the work going on there. Thank you for that. I was going to say, I'm looking at, what they're offering in terms of new products. What can T-Mobile do to kind of create new revenue streams? I look at the home broadband opportunity. There are people that are not happy with their service provider at home for internet. Either speeds are slow, or they've got data caps, or the performance of the offer is crappy. The equipment fails. The infrastructure is poor. Could just be that it's expensive, right? Or there's not much competition out there, so there's no heat, right, for them to want to compete. So I think in this situation, opening up the home broadband situation is great. I think the T-Vision opportunity is great. People that want like full, cable TV offering with like 200, 300 channels, stuff like that at an attractive enough price. You can get it for $80 with a T-Mobile existing service, that sort of thing. It's stuff like that where I think T-Mobile can capitalize. That's the type of situation I think T-Mobile wants to be, is create more revenue streams to keep customers' dollars within their company instead of them going to other providers for their services. So I really like that opportunity for T-Mobile. And you look at the customer service. Nobody's doing customer care better than T-Mobile. That's got to continue. The team of experts, you go into the store, you get this, this hot shot treatment from the customer care reps and the salespeople. All that needs to remain, right? And Tim will attest to all these things. T-Mobile plans on keeping them all. T-Mobile plans to continue with these types of business ethics and operations. So I have faith in that. I don't think that stuff's going away. Number 5, as we approach the 26th minute of this podcast, device financing. That has to improve. That's something that I feel might be non-negotiable. The current trend of smartphones is now such that the average smartphone flagship has exceeded $1,000. If you want to buy an iPhone, not the 11, but if you're going to go premium flagship, so you get yourself like the 11 Pro, it's $1,000. You get the Max, it's $1,100. You increase the storage, you're going up $100, $200. You're going to pay taxes on those things. These phones have gotten outrageously expensive, and I don't know. It's a touchy situation, but the way T-Mobile's financing is working now for some people, especially if you're a customer coming in from another network, you don't have a credit history with T-Mobile. They may end up telling you, we'll finance 700 of those dollars for you. So your payment's going to be like $35 a month, but you're accountable for the other part as a down payment. Well, you also have to pay taxes. You also might have to pay for the Apple Care, right? If you're getting an iPhone or something like that, or if you're getting insurance, those fees are still there. They're not going anywhere. You may have to spend $600, $700, or even $800 for a new flagship from T-Mobile because of the way that their financing is structured. Now, I understand some people have a good credit history with T-Mobile and they'll finance the whole thing for you, right? Or, maybe it's a situation where, if you've got really, really A+ credit, they may make you put $300 or $400 down instead of $700. That's so much, especially when Verizon and AT&T, no questions asked. If you have good credit, even if you're a brand new customer, they're giving you full, all out device financing on the entire cost. Yeah, you're going to pay the taxes and stuff like that, but hey, you're going to get the full financing. So yeah, your payment will be a little bit lower because you're putting a down payment. Your monthly installment's going to be like $35 a month. But man, like coming up $600-$700 on a down payment, that's tough. Not everybody could do that. They're probably more comfortable paying $50 or $55 per month for the device than they are to be able to come up for $700 or $600 out of pocket, or even $800. Like in the case of the Samsung Galaxy S20 Ultra, that thing's like $1,400 before taxes, right? So yeah, device financing, they got to figure something out there. I'm going to give you guys some bonus items, some things to think about. I talked about iWireless. I talked about Chantel. T-Mobile's got to continue to look at those types of things, try to expand their native network so they're not roaming, right? They really can't. They're not in a position to be roaming on anybody's network at this point. They really need their own native nationwide. No negotiations there. But here's some things I think T-Mobile should stop. And I think that's T-Mobile's got to stop worrying about the 5G icon. I've talked to Carlos about this. The 5G icon on the phones is designed to make people think that they're connected to this amazing new technological advance. They got to stop worrying about that. Let the 5G icon show if you're connected to 5G and the connection is actually good. but it's the quality of the connection that's going to make or break a customer's experience on the network, not the fact that the icon is present in the top right-hand corner. Because even if it just said LTE and you were getting 400 megabits per second, we've seen that with speed tests, it doesn't matter if it says 5G. We've seen 5G speed tests that get like 0.5 megabits per second. It's not meaningful in that way. I think the emphasis on just putting that icon up there, that needs to go by the wayside. It's kind of like my personal gripe. Outside of that, it's not really a big deal to me. It's really about the performance of the network. Like I said, you've got to convince people that this merger created this supercharged network. And then you have the case of the whole like Dumb and Dumber stuff. I think all that goes with John. I think it's pretty much understood that John's no longer going to be this mascot. John's not going to be in the forefront of the company. I don't think he should really be on any commercials. I don't think he needs to be portrayed in any way in representing the company. I mean, at this point, they've also kind of like moved on from John. I mean, they already started the transition when they announced the merger April 1st. No April Fool's joke, right? And I think a lot of that's going by the wayside. Mike Sievert's going to be a good CEO. He's going to be a fine CEO. I mean, he's pretty much been the main guy for the company this whole way with John. He's been his right hand. So most of the uncarrier moves, all of that, this image that was built up and this marketing push, it was kind of created by him. But, John was the face of it all. He was the mascot. So, I kind of look at it like that. And kind of another little bonus thing, the CapEx. It's got to stay high. They've got to compete with Verizon. They've got to compete with AT&T. They're within striking distance of AT&T if you think about it. They cannot spend $6 billion a year. It's not happening. They're looking at probably spending $20 billion annually for the next 3 years in new builds, upgrades, and network integration. They will have to spend somewhere between 15 to 20 billion for the next 3 years annually. So over the next 3 years, if they spend $60 billion, I think they can achieve every network goal that they have. I really do. I think they can do it because the money talks in this business. You could say all you want about 5G. You could say all you want about the 600 megahertz signal. But you've got to spend the money. We've seen what AT&T has done in the last year and a half or 2 years. The Band 14 expansion has helped them tremendously. They've got Band 29. They've got Band 30. They've added new spectrum assets that have completely changed the experience on the network. They've got new access sites. They've got, they've bolstered pre-existing sites with huge capacity. I mean, I ran a prepaid MVNO of AT&T for a month. I used over 300 gigabytes of data. And that sucker was always over 100 megabits, 200 megabits per second speed test. I never got throttled. That is a high capacity network. Verizon is squeezing the life out of their spectrum, but they've got so many sites. It deals with that problem. So I know that their capital investment was set for $6 billion. There's no way they could do that this year. Maybe $6 billion and 600 megahertz. They've got to finish that LTE piece. They've got to add AWS capacity to deal with the Sprint integration. They're going to have to build out the 2.5 network integration as well. You think about the assets that Sprint brings to the table, massive MIMO antenna upgrades. They've got to do that. That's going to be huge for their 5G NR. Pre-existing sites that are LTE, right? The PCS spectrum. I mean, there's so much that they've got to do. But if they spend the money, they can do it all because the engineers are ready and they're willing and they're able. The will is there. I think they do it. And like I said, Verizon's spending $18 billion annually. AT&T has been spending 20, 22, 25 billion. These companies are no joke, man. And I know AT&T's in shambles. I don't know what's going on over there. They got this huge debt load, bad purchases, all this debt. Take advantage of the opportunity while they're hurting. Strike while the iron is hot. Verizon is strapped for spectrum. They can't do anything until C-band, which puts it at like 2021. So for the next year and a half, T-Mobile's got to put their pedal to the metal and just go for it. And you got to do it with money. And I think Neville is more able to do those sorts of things now than he was before because they understood what this merger was all about. This should open up the network upgrade floodgates, and we should have a totally supercharged the new network with the new T-Mobile. So those are the 5 things, and then some added bonus stuff that I wanted to kind of throw in there. Big shout out to Cesar Lopez with the $2 super chat. Wait till T-Mobile gets the show on the road. Agreed. Once this whole situation gets under control and whatever happens, people get back to work and the network integration can continue full throttle. Gene, thank you for the $2 super chat. Appreciate you, man. Ron, appreciate you also. The $3 fist bump. Thank you for that super chat sticker. Yeah, Pete. He says T-Mobile eviscerates AT&T where I am. But Pete, that's like a regional thing. We need more of that, right? We need more of that in places where it's the other way around, where AT&T has the access and T-Mobile doesn't. So, yeah, I think with the Sprint integration, it covers some of those spots, right? There are some places where Sprint has native coverage and good coverage that T-Mobile doesn't. That takes care of that. But there are still other locations and markets where T-Mobile's presence is weak. They addressed it a little bit with iWireless. Hopefully they do the same with Chantel, and they address it in that way. Tim is saying AT&T is making some of the same mistakes as Sprint did. From the mobility side, I don't really see it. From the business side, sure. I think I agree with you there for sure. James Marrero says eventually the U.S. will only have 2 carriers. I totally disagree. No disrespect whatsoever, my friend. I disagree with that. We have 3 legitimate sized carriers that I think are ready to go at each other. So, I just had to disagree with that. Kazi says AT&T should dump DirecTV to Dish. I don't think anybody wants DirecTV, to be honest with you. My daily side says AT&T and Verizon is going to run scared. I don't think they're going to run scared. I think Verizon's looking to keep their crown, to be honest with you, and they're not backing down. They've actually become more competitive in terms of value. So I like what I'm seeing there. Nobody does networks better than Verizon. That is their thing. King Judas says, right now, T-Mobile's 5G isn't worth it. If a phone doesn't have the tri-band 5G, millimeter wave, low and mid, waste of my money. S20 Plus, S20 Ultra does that. Yeah, those are big-time devices, man. I agree. Gene says AT&T needs to spin off DirecTV. I don't know what they need to do with that. I really don't know. The TV side, the media side of AT&T is a nightmare, honestly. Let's see here. Samsung even said that their S20 Ultra isn't selling like that. Yeah, I've heard that. I heard that the phone isn't selling very well. Carriers are reporting it's not selling very well. I don't know. I think the pricing, man, it's just so expensive. Lou Don with the super chat, the onset $199 sticker. Thank you for that. Let's see here. AT&T is doing a Sony, many divisions, one making money. Yeah, they make money, like they're very profitable and they get people's money. But I don't know, man. If they really want to make a difference, if they really want to turn their company around, I think they need more new management. I think they need upper level executives that get it. Verizon seemed to do that with Hans Vestberg. T-Mobile's always had it, with John and Mike and these guys. So there's got to be some changes there, I think, personally. Bacon Ninja says Visible's awesome. You are a Verizon customer, right? You know what, Ronald? You bring up a good point, man. I can't disagree with that statement. Which smartphone is selling well during quarantine? Yeah, and some of that's just timing for them, right? You think about it, the phone dropped in February. I mean, did they even really have a chance to sell it? It sucks. They may have to run like a special once the quarantine thing is under control. So, you know what, Breezy? You're right. Breezy's firstborn son. Super chats are awesome. I appreciate them greatly, but the PayPal donations are awesome because the PayPal donations, they don't take a fee from you or me, right? It's just a direct, if you do it as friends and family, it's just a direct transfer. They take their piece over here on the tubes. Josh says, do you think AT&T prepaid will get 5G access? Cricket will be getting it soon. I don't know. I didn't hear about Cricket getting it. If Cricket gets it, I'm gonna guess it's the low band 5G, which isn't really. It's nothing to write home about. There's nothing special about it. You know, I don't know about the whole low band 5G. Like, I mean, how much does it really mean to people? I mean, it's nice to have, but it's not going to really change your network experience. Mid-band, different story, right? You had to start adding tons of mid-band for 5G. Now that's some action right there, using massive MIMO antennas and stuff like that. So if they do give access to prepaid, that's cool. But I don't think it's going to change too many people's experiences on the network. You look at Cricket, they have a speed cap, right? They're not even giving you full network access if you think about it. So, yeah. Cesar says, I'm an AT&T customer. If T-Mobile is on their feet, heading back to them. All right, so there's a person thinking about moving. I totally agree, Bobby. I think the LG V60 is a great phone. I'm actually probably going to get one. I really like that phone. As a creator, somebody creates video, needs high quality audio recording, stuff like that. I'm big on that phone. I think it's going to be a really super device for a lot of people. I'm looking into it. Nadim Namu. I hope I said that right. I am sorry, my friend, if I didn't. With the $4.99 super chat. Thank you for the generous donation. I appreciate you. Thank you for those thoughts and considerations. And it is good to have you here tonight. And thanks for stopping by, and appreciate your generosity. Thank you. Trailboy Gaming says Samsung needs to lower the price of their flagships. $250 price increase in the lower end of the S20. Well, they did add 5G, right? The thing about the S20 line, when they put in the 865 chip, you have no choice but to make it a 5G phone. It's built in. The modems are built into the chip, so you can't have an 865 modem. You can't have a flagship Qualcomm unless it's 5G. So it's really, really hard, to say, well, I want a Samsung flagship that's LTE only. You can't have it, which kind of takes you over to the mid-range for Samsung. They've got the A71, which is going to be 5G. You've got the A71 5G variant, right? And then you've got the 51, A51, and A51 5G. There's going to be a 5G variant there in the mid-range. Big shout out to Technoid. He's in the live. He did a video covering this, did a great job with it. I'll be doing a little bit of the cellular technologies on those phones probably tomorrow or the next day. So be on the lookout for that. I'll cover those devices really good. Jessica says affordable. I agree. It's got to be affordable, right? I don't think Cricket for a while because they don't even sell 5G phones yet. Yeah, I don't know what their 5G access is going to be either. We'll have to wait and see. They need another S10e range phone, like maybe a S20e. So the price would come down, but they'd have to use a different chip, right? I mean, what would you do to make it cheaper? Yeah, Ronald, I was saying those devices should be good for the mid-range. Totally agree. All right, so I didn't want to be on too long. I didn't want to make this a long, drawn-out thing. I wanted to cover, the 5 most critical things I think T-Mobile had to do to really hit the nail on the head in order to make sure that they get this merger off on the right foot. And I think I did as much as I could in covering it. If you're watching this in the live, you guys got to chime in. I was kind of reading your statements. You guys were having the conversation and the discourse. For those of you watching on replay, you got to hear my items. Maybe you want to drop some comments. Let me know what you guys think. If you agree or disagree with some of my points, you're more than welcome to let your voice be heard. Jamil, thank you for the super chat, bro. Thanks for the generosity. I want to shout out the links in the description box, the SMT Patreon page, the second channel, the Mobile Tech live streams. If you guys want to get subbed over there, check out the channel link. It's there for the second channel. Also, we have the Twitter handle at Sneed Tech if you guys want to get involved with that community. And the Megadon.net invite code is in the description box. Megadon.net is the social media platform of the future. Never need another social media platform ever again. No algorithms, no ads, no tracking. Megadon.net. That's pretty much all I wanted to cover with this live stream. If you guys would be so kind, please hit the like button on this video. Pop out of the chat if you have to. Hit the like button. Thumbs up for me. Share it to your favorite social media platforms. That would be awesome. Instagram, Twitter, here on YouTube, Facebook, whatever. That would be amazing if you guys could do that for me. Also, what I'm going to probably do for the replay crew is I'll leave some end cards here for you guys to check out those things. And big shout out to the replay crew, those watching this after the fact. If you watch this all the way through, hashtag Sneedles, SNEEDLES, hashtag Sneedles, if you watch this all the way through. Big shout out to Jamaal for his super chats, Gene for his super chats, U5 Marshall, MT Houston, Texas, Mikey Tech Reviews, Timothy Ball, RFK Tech, Tana So Lit, Alexis, and Sebi, Cesar, and Ronald. Thank you. Oh, as well as Nadim. Thank you for your super chat. I think I got to everybody. Thank you guys for being here to watch in the live. Big shout out to those watching this on replay, the replay crew. Thank you guys so much. Hashtag Sneedles if you watch this all the way through. You guys are the best. I hope you guys have a great rest of the day. Stay safe out there, and we'll see you guys on the next video. Peace.